listener.
It's really rich to say all those messaging without acknowledging the fact that it really helps them. It helps them in their life that they've got that flexibility.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello.
Hello.
May I say, loving the bangs.
Oh, thank you. I have gone full committal with the Fringe team. I was half in for quite a while and I was really struggling to style it. And my hairdresser said to me,
It is a bit like that.
Laura, it's because we're like in between.
Yeah.
Like you need to choose. We're growing it out. Are you doing it? And I was like, I'm very lucky my hair does grow quite fast. So I was like, oh, okay, let's just fully commit to it.
Yeah.
And I have to say, a full fringe is much harder for me personally, maybe because it's new, to style than the things I had gone on before.
Yeah.
But this morning I tried with I used my straightener instead of my hairdryer and I found it much easier to control. Now, I did not straighten it directly.
No, but you used it as if you were waving your hair with a straightener, right? Like you turned it a bit.
I turned it towards my face actually.
Yeah.
So it was almost like a...
Yep.
Yeah. I would have to film it and for visualization, not that I will master a lot more before I ever film it for you guys. Oh, sorry, if I ever film it for you guys, I will master it first. But if anyone is struggling with the stringe styling, I feel you, I see you.
I think also you find what works over time, but also your fringe, you need to like literally train it to sit forward. If you haven't had a fringe ever before and you're looking for actual full bangs, not just curtain bangs, like it takes time for your hairs to sit forward again. So like, because they've been side for this time.
That is such a good fact.
Right? So it's not like it is styling, absolutely, but it's also like your hair does get easier, not just because you get better at styling, but also because it's just getting used to sitting a certain way. It's like when you first go side part, how it like feels forced for a little bit and then eventually it just becomes the part if you commit. It's the same with bangs.
Side parts were, I wonder if they'll come back.
I tried to make it happen before I got my bangs back, but it didn't work for postpartum hair loss, may I say. It made my forehead look even longer.
Postpartum hair loss.
No, I wanted to do an update actually. I've been trying to get in a bit of a routine at home and which I'm not going to spend too much time updating on because I want to like actually try and commit and see how long Josh and I actually stick with it. But it is, involved some new brick schedules and just some different habits and stuff.
Just quickly, when you say a brick schedule, like that is...
I know, true.
I just feel like I don't familiar with the brick.
I've honestly shouted out this company that much. I don't want to come across...
It's just a phone control company thing. It's not... Because people might be like, wait, what are you is that about? A mindful activity?
Totally. There are many different things that can do this, but you can like schedule it to brick certain apps and you have to physically, you can make the schedule turn off at a certain time. So you can do that if it's something you want repetitively. But ultimately you've got to go physically get up and go to this thing called the brick is what I use to unbrick it. So I just find that it helps with that like automatic habit if you have got your phone on you of like jumping into scroll or whatever. Anyway. I've talked about it before. It's helped in the past. We are on a new schedule because I kind of turned off the schedules and then forgot about it and just fell back into old habits. But one thing that I'm really proud of that I am back in and feeling really consistent with is my knitting. I am like,
you're getting through a lot of long, skinny blankets.
And I'll get to that in a second because that is such a lull in itself. But I think for me, I've always liked to pick up new habits and it is really cool when I find one that I actually like love so much that it sticks around, but it's super fucking rare. It's really, really rare.
Oh my God, finding a hobby as an adult that we can sustain, I reckon it's up there with the hardest task in the world.
100%.
So when you get it,
I know.
We rejoice.
It's so good.
Amazing.
And knitting for me has been something like consistently now over the last couple of years that I have been doing. Like, sure, there's some months where I do it a lot less or whatever, and it helps if I've got like, I'm in the middle of a blanket or something like that. But I've been pretty consistent with it. And even right now, I'm knitting a blanket for no one in particular. I'll work it out by the time the blanket's finished. But I'm doing it ahead of doing another baby blanket for someone very close to me because the last 2 baby blankets that I have created, and I'm going to blame my ADHD for this, but the first row, for anyone who doesn't do any knitting, and if you're not following a pattern, because obviously if you're following a pattern, like great. But again, for my brain, I don't have the patience to follow a pattern. And I've also gotten to the level of skill, I want to say, with knitting, where I can watch a movie while I'm doing it, or I can watch a show, or I can have a conversation while I'm doing it. And so with that, you get a little bit lost as you're knitting along. And what's happened a couple of times now is I've cast it on, which is when you're creating your first row for a blanket, let's call it. And I haven't kept track of how many knits I've done. So let's say a pattern calls for 60 knits to cast on. Usually, if it's a blanket, you will continue to do 60 knits for every row thereafter. Now, there might be a different pattern knit, like blah, blah, blah. We don't need to go into intricacies of that. What's happened twice now is I've lost count when I'm doing my first cast on, and I've looked at it and I've got a gauge and I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't feel like it's wide enough, and I've kept going. Big problem there. Because what's happened twice, one of them way more ridiculous than the other, is I've made it way too wide. So usually when you're doing a blanket, you start with the narrow part and you knit the length.
Yep.
What I have done twice now is I've knitted and cast it on the length, and then I'm starting to run out of yarn. I'm going back and buying more yarn to finish this blanket.
I get it.
And I'm actually only knitting the ends, because otherwise I'm making a full-on human-sized blanket.
I was going to say, because I feel like the solution to these skinny things is to just go and buy a million kilos of yarn.
But, you know, that's like already my baby blankets are costing like $80 to make. Like, it's not
for a baby anymore.
Oh, well, so exactly, if I was to keep going, right?
So anyway. I feel like for you, it's probably not about the money per se. It's probably more about the fact that you're making a baby blanket, not a human blanket. So that's why you can't extend.
No, and I don't want another blanket in my house for human size. So I'm not going to go buy more yarn. This was for a baby. Anyway, the first one that I made, if anyone missed it, I did post a reel to my Instagram. It's like a colourful looking knitted blanket. Was literally taller than me and so narrow it could be a carpet runner. Like, it was ridiculous. It actually went across our king bed at the bottom like a throw would, except it's narrow like a carpet runner. Gave it to my neighbour. She had a good lull, but she's actually loved it because she's kind of using it as a blanket / shawl, like, whereas she's covering herself and Bub. And, you know, it's winter, so like more the merrier. So all good. I mean, I felt ridiculous giving it to her, but like she, you know, and like who's going to turn around and be like, this is shit?
No one.
No one, right?
Definitely not.
And I will say even my baby blankets before that, they have not been perfect. Atlas's one was also skewed.
It's cute as.
But it was not followed a pattern, okay? Then I start my beautiful niece who's been born. So exciting. Little baby Grace. I started hers slightly after my neighbour's and thought to myself, okay, this time stay focused, right? Let's have a real crack with this cast on. Did I keep count again? No. But this time I thought visually, that looks right. I still should have counted it because the same thing happened again, just on a smaller scale. So it's basically the same shape as the one that I made that was a carpet runner, but smaller. And I've got to give that to my sister-in-law soon, so that'll be a lull. But this time what I've done is there's these little rings that you can get, and I've put them every 10 stitches.
So then you know.
So I've actually kept count on a cast on, and so I'm really excited to see how this blanket turns out.
And you can still watch TV.
And I can still watch,
And I have to say, I really am a fan of the rainbow thing you've chosen.
I love the art.
It's really lovely.
Fun. Yeah.
So anyway. Lucky baby that will get that.
Thanks. But yeah.
Well,
that's all I had for you.
Well, thank you. Don't worry, guys. It's not the end of the episode. No. We had just at the start. Okay, we have got a mailbox.
Ooh.
Now, this came in from Tanisha about one of my favourite topics we've ever spoken about, the roast chook on the plane. And in case you missed this segment, we will link this episode in the show notes. But essentially, we spoke about, Steph actually ranked them out of 10, the things on a plane that should be illegal. And someone sent in eating a roast chicken. And we had
pretty different thoughts.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
To the point where I thought that that's something that you do, just not when you're flying with me.
Anyway, Tanisha has some thoughts. Tanisha said, when I was younger, about 5, we went on a family holiday from Melbourne to Queensland. My nana famously took a supermarket roast chook with her on the plane from Melbourne to Queensland, scanned through security and all. She's now 82 and it still comes up every family gathering. My auntie picked up her handbag through security and said, "Why is your handbag so bloody heavy?" And of course, Nana had to bring her leftover roast chook. She never wastes a sliver of food.
Okay. Number 1, if it's a leftover roast chook, I have no doubt she had Tupperware. That's a big difference.
True.
That's a big difference.
Tanisha, this is true. Steph shares the facts. I would love to know, like, did your nana carry
Just keep it in the bag.
In the tradie's handbag, like with the plastic?
Yeah.
With the juices?
Yeah. Oh, in the handbag. No, see that? No.
Yeah, because I don't think I feel like your nana sounds practical.
Yeah.
She's not putting a juicy, unsealed thing in her handbag. It is in her.
But I love it.
I do, yeah. I love it. Protein for Nan.
And we don't like wasting food.
I love
It's
it.
great.
Thank you for the mailbox.
To keep this going,
Yes,
I
Lynn.
actually just messaged Tanisha because she messaged us on Instagram at KICPod to say we read your message out on the episodes that's coming out on August 17, sorry. And as you were talking, I asked, wait, did you bring it in the supermarket bag? So stay tuned.
Okay.
I'll see what
love
she
that.
says. She's just seen the message.
Oh my God, Tanisha. I love this.
I love
this.
this.
Okay, wait, I want to know.
She says, in the supermarket bag that was Nan in her handbag.
There you go.
Wow.
Nan, go off, Nan.
Yeah.
Love
I'm
you.
not wasting time with...
I
You know
reckon
what as
she's
well?
drained it. It's not in the juice. It's not in the juice. Otherwise, that would be her through her full bag.
I also think, though, I think like this. When I'm taking food for a plane, I'm then thinking about having to like take empty Tupperware everywhere I go on like my holiday or my trip.
Exactly.
Like, that's annoying.
So that's why we bring it in the bag stuff. Okay?
Now, today, we're probably going to cover quite a lot in this segment. I will start with that. But we're going to start with Nara Smith. Now, I'm sure that name is really familiar to a lot of you. She has an incredibly large following. She's a 24-year-old content creator based in the US.
Should we play a little bit of audio from Nara's Instagram?
Yeah, we can do that.
I do think she is the
You
most
may not even know the
identifiable
name, but you
through
will.
her sound.
Here's what I prep with all the vegetables I harvested from my garden last night. My zucchini has been growing like crazy, so I start by grating that and squeezing out all the water.
Now, you may have also seen lately that her name's come up quite a bit and people are talking about her a bit because she's been recently on Call Her Daddy, one of my favourite interview podcasts. And she spoke a lot about the, I suppose, disagreement she has or confusion she has as to how she's been identified as a trad wife. Because it is something that I suppose people have had an issue with her content for quite some time. And I was really intrigued to listen to this podcast. I have never followed Nara, so I want to kind of preface that as well. So obviously there's probably things that I don't know about her and I don't have that context.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think that was another reason why I really wanted to listen to the podcast, just to understand this person a little bit more. And I think what I found most interesting is she did in fact say that there was a time where she addressed the commentary around people calling her a trad wife and facts in her life as to how that's not actually aligned with her reality. And yet, because that post wasn't necessarily met, I suppose, how maybe she thought it would be, like people being like, oh, thanks so much, that makes so much sense, because the internet, like, it never really meets you like that, right? Unless they're like your greatest supporters. I think what she then said to Alex Cooper in this conversation is that she just didn't bother again. Like, she was like, I said what I said, I tried to clear things up, no one listened still, whatever. And to an extent, I kind of get it. I think there is some battles that we have as content creators that sometimes you're just never going to win, and you have to accept the fact that you are not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So I understand that point that she had. But I think what it kind of lacked, and I think my biggest issue, and again, I don't want to attack her. There's plenty of people online who do this in one way or another. I think the biggest thing and the biggest gripe people have is the transparency between how she portrays her life and what happens behind the scenes. Now, she goes on in this podcast to talk to that being a protective thing, in that anytime she's shared too much of her life, she gets too many people's opinions on it. Therefore, she's just really lent into this character that people have believed her to be, and whatever they believe is whatever.
How many kids does she have?
I think she has four under 5. She's 24.
Yeah, I was surprised to find out her age, not because of the way she looks, but just because
5 kids.
She has
4 kids under 5.
And one of them is very young.
I think so.
I think she's recently postpartum. Hang on, let me just quickly get that piece of information.
Well, she has 4 under 5. So
okay, cool. So she has her kids are Rumble Honey, age 5. Oh, they have very different names.
Yep.
Slim Easy, age 4. Whimsy Lou, age 2, and Fawny Golden, under 1-year-old. So she's recently postpartum.
Yeah. And I think the transparency is probably people's gripe, because it's one thing to lean into a character and to make that your niche and your content and be defined in that way as a content creator. And she's found that. And we know with the way that the algorithm works and all that sort of stuff, sometimes it helps to have your thing that people can expect from you, and they come back. We've learnt that over time, as our time on even Instagram, how things have been changing and all of that sort of stuff. So I understand the tactic, I suppose. However, I think when you amount to that amount of following and you are not just getting negative commentary, but you are, I suppose people are trying to educate you continuously. You are hearing the term tradwife. You are learning about it and understanding it. You are also understanding maybe where that is going. I think you do, in my opinion, have a responsibility to continue that. It's not just one post, or again, maybe she did more than one, but going off her conversation and call her daddy, she's tried once before, it didn't really get through to anyone, so now she's given up. I think it needs a little bit more than that. And it's something that even personally I try and be really conscious of, in that this notion of women having it all or doing it all or having this balance. I've been asked that so many times, whether it's through DMs, through comments, through actual conversations and interviews. How do you do it all? How do you balance it all? And it's something that I am pretty quick to say, that's funny, it seems that way, because I'm a lot of the time I'm drowning or it's chaos or whatever, but also I can do it because of X, Y, and Z. There is all these different reasons to why my life is different to the majority of people's, things that I can afford, the fact that my family is involved a lot, very hands-on. My husband is a stay-at-home dad, and we have the financial means to have one of us at home with our kids. We share the load of labor and everything at home. There is so many reasons why I can do certain things. And yeah, sure, it's still hard and it's still chaotic, but there's no way I would be able to do any of those things. And she has a lot of these things in the background. She has her mum helping. Her partner is a model, so he's a freelancer, is home a lot and can look after the kids and everything like that. Doesn't have I suppose a traditional 9-to-5 kind of role where he's away a lot. Plus they have hired help and all that. And I just feel without that context, the whole notion of spending hours and hours in the kitchen, looking the way that she does, all put together, and creating all this food, which again originally came from a really authentic, beautiful place of her looking after her health because of an autoimmune disease. It's just, you have to be able to acknowledge how you may be adding to a really problematic thing that has happened since, in glorifying that role without nuance and without context of what that could mean or what that looks like in reality.
Oh, 100%. And it's so interesting. When you look up, what does a tradwife, because we talk about the term a lot, but I mean, this definition is from Wikipedia, but it says a tradwife is a member of an internet subculture made up of women who promote traditional gender roles, often on social media. Tradwife aesthetics have been associated with far-right politics, particularly the alt-right and alt-light movements. Now, And researchers have identified differing political views amongst tradwives ranging from conservatism to right-wing extremism. Not to bring politics into it, but I think with Nara Smith, like when you look at her content, and also it's not just like, she's not just a cooking channel, like it's the voiceover that goes with it and the aesthetic, as you said, Steph. Like,
my husband asked me for this.
That's right. She says, my husband wanted a piece of toast today with some almond butter. So, of course, and it's almost like, and there's a lot of satire stuff online about Nara Smith. I think that's
definitely, but I think she's also...
She would know that.
No, I think she's also being satire. Like what you get in this conversation with Alex is she's like, that's like, obviously that's a joke. Like I wouldn't
she's saying,
usually
like my husband
cook in couture.
First of all, she's cooking in like a corset. But then she's saying that my husband asked for a piece of toast with almond butter. So I made the sourdough from scratch and then I made the almond butter from scratch and whatever. If my child wants jelly or chocolate, everything has to be made from scratch, right? Which is completely unrealistic for
majority of people.
Like 99.99999% of people. Even people that like cooking. I don't know if anyone is making every single thing from scratch because it's very time consuming. And she shows that. Like I made my husband a turkey sandwich, but she's like pressing the turkey down and this sandwich is taking 8 hours. Like that is just completely ridiculous, really. And I think it is a bit like, I think it's obviously a bit rich to then say that she doesn't like not take responsibility for I would say she has been a big, in my view, has been a big contributor to the glamorization of the tradwife culture. What I am happy about though is that she went and had this conversation and that and again, I also didn't see this video the one time that she spoke about the fact that she doesn't want to contribute to
or
it.
That she's actually always worked and blah, blah,
exactly. Yeah. But I think my biggest problem with the tradwife kind of trend, especially on social media, is that all of the traditional wife culture people, all of the influencers that promote tradwifery, whatever you want to call it, like these traditional gender roles. They all, the hypocrisy, oh my God, I can never say that word. Hypocrisy. Oh my fucking God.
It's okay, I said it for you. Just keep going.
My God, why can't I can't get it out.
I don't want to try it again because I won't be able to say it again.
The hypocrisy. Oh my God, why
hypocrisy. I said it again.
Close enough, okay. The hypocrisy, you guys know what I'm trying to say.
You got it.
Is that they are working.
Yeah, they're getting paid.
They are being paid for this content and they are promoting traditional gender roles, which is they're in the kitchen, they're cooking, they're looking after the children, their husband is going to work. So they're doing the domestic duty at home. However, the difference between the average person and them is that they are getting paid to do the domestic duties because it is their brand, their content, and brands pay them to do that content. And that is why I struggle with it so much because they are promoting this lifestyle, but they are being paid for it, whereas every other person in society does not get paid for domestic labour.
Yeah. And I think what it reminds me of, just quickly before going back to that, it reminds me of fitness influencers who, again, it's their living to create that kind of content and are in the gym or whatever and come out with these strong opinions on how often everyone should be training and that people are making up excuses and all of this stuff really puts everyone else in a lot of like, I mean, yes, we all want to be motivated to like move and reminded how good it feels. That's what we do as well through Kick. In a realistic and sustainable manner though, right, is really important. If it is your job to have the flexibility to literally go to the gym any hour of the day of your choosing and to spend hours in there, probably creating a few different videos, taking your time with your workout. Like it's really rich to say all those messaging without acknowledging the fact that it really helps them in their life that they've got that flexibility. I feel like acknowledgement and transparency really matters because I think if Nara Smith or the likes of people like her were transparent about all that sort of stuff, like, fuck, I don't know, lean into the satire, like make a joke of it, but just make sure that people know it's like it's a joke or it's a serious job. Like it's not full reality and they're not getting full reality. I think that transparency is super important because as you said, of what comes thereafter.
What about the glamorization of it though? Like what do you think that she should like take on some responsibility for glamorizing tradwifery and promoting gender roles which are not in real life glamorize it all.
I agree. I think it's the context and the transparency, because I think, like what she said in this conversation, I love cooking. I love spending time in the kitchen. It brings me so much joy. I like doing it. My husband sucks at cooking. Like, other than doing a steak, he sucks. And I would prefer to cook it. There is certain things in our relationships, and probably even in ours, where we lean into traditional gender norms or roles or whatever, because we actually just like it. You know, it's very different if you feel like you have to do it. However, I think if that's like the main content stream and no one's getting any of the other stuff, it does really just play into the idea that that's their dynamic and probably ticks all the other boxes. Assume, like, it's so easy to assume that. And she has to acknowledge that I get why people are assuming that, like, and kind of own that. And I do think my problem is the lack of responsibility in the tone. And I think this shift now that tradwifery is rightly so getting questioned as this trend, this shift in, hang on, no, I've been working this whole time, I actually do it all and I'm juggling it all. And Lynn's, actually, if you wouldn't mind, there was a part in the conversation with Alex Cooper that I'll play first and then keep talking.
Bigger conversation to be had, because everything that I've been reading online, I find it very concerning almost that we need to put women in very specific, very narrow boxes in order to make sense of them. I don't think, so why can't we do it all? Why can't we be a working mom that enjoys cooking, that enjoys being at home and taking care of our kids, but also is on the next plane out to LA to take business meetings with big executives? Like, why can't that coexist? And I think that's something that's very concerning to me, that a woman can't exist under any terms but the little boxes we put them in.
And, you know, media literacy.
So I think some of what she's saying there, we have spoken to, and like, I'm sure aligns, and like you hear and is like, yeah, like there's an empowering point when we say things like, women should be able to do it all. Don't define a woman. They don't need to be put in a box. We can be multifaceted. I
agree. Let's not put women in boxes, but also take responsibility for your contribution, like to the boxes.
A very certain box, right? But now that tradwife has got a negative connotation, I suppose, to it, to the trend, she's fully pivoting to this. No, I'm working my ass, which, like, good on her. Go for your life, but like, if that's always been the case, like, where was that transparency earlier? And I think also something that I've been kind of playing with in my mind lately as well about this empowering message, or so-called empowering message of women can do it all, is something that it doesn't necessarily ring true to me anymore. Like, I have more thoughts. And I'll just quickly read a post I put up recently, which definitely a lot of you related to. And I said, the women can do it all phrase seemed empowering to me before, but now it really just seems bullshit. You cannot have a full-time job, be the most present parent, show up to every friend's event, get there before the sun, get to the gym multiple times a week, walk 10,000 steps, sleep hours, meditate daily, journal daily, spend quality time with your partner, take up a new hobby regularly, only eat fresh and organic, sauna, ice bath regularly, have a perfect skincare routine, learn a new skill, keep your home tidy, all at the same time. But we all try. And then what does that cost us when you do? And I get that we're all trying to better ourselves and find a routine that works for us. But like, we have to find, as she said, like, you don't need to fit a certain box. You can be multifaceted. But it's really hard to hear that from someone who has really lent into something that has made them a lot of money and is only kind of pivoting now that it's not getting celebrated so much anymore.
Yeah, for me, it comes back to, like, number one, why it is just so important to decide what you want for your life yourself.
Yeah.
And just be so when you are looking at social media, when you are looking at the way people put their lives together, like, I know we talk about this a lot, but it's like, people care, and this is in all elements of life. People care about themselves. People are always going to look out for themselves first. It is default human. There's nothing wrong with that. It is what people do. So Nara, as you've said, Steph, has realised that tradwifery is starting to get a bad rap. It doesn't suit her image anymore, which in turn fills her pockets. Fine, it's great. Women should make money. That's amazing. And so now she is going to pivot her entire brand, which I find incredibly hypocritical, I think for me what would have been helpful is, because I'm like, okay, if she had have come out and said, look, I made a lot of money off selling women this ideal that actually is completely unrealistic because I was working the whole time in the background and I'm glamorizing this tradwifery that you don't get paid for, but I do.
Yeah, I see that.
I see. Exactly.
Yeah.
But would that have been enough? Now, would that have been enough? Now I'm going to change my brand to this. Now, people evolve. And I think that's something that's really important to acknowledge. Like that might not, the person, like she's so young as well. Like I don't know how long she's been doing it for, but like probably over 3-4 years, whatever. From when you're 20 to 24, like, and she's only 24, like there's so much more evolution to come, right?
Yeah.
And I think we need to hold space for the fact that people can evolve.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also think it's a really, really good example of people are in it for themselves. Sure, most people are. She made a lot of money, and that's where it's kind of like we need to be so careful with how we are influenced and let our value system and our belief system by people online, because this is a perfect example of she doesn't care about the people that she's influenced to go, and she probably doesn't. Also, this is where responsibility comes into it.
Yeah.
And it's something we always talk about. Like I don't think everyone needs to have a channel and needs to dedicate their channel to
being the best role
world.
model. No.
Or bettering the world.
Yeah.
I think it is for some people, like and it also depends, like what is your definition of bettering the world?
Yeah.
However, I do think that if you have a platform and you are monetizing your audience, because that is why brands come to you, because your audience will then spend money on their brand.
They're influenced by you.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you are not taking responsibility to do no harm to your audience, again, harm is a spectrum. Like how we want to define it.
Totally.
Also, people have agency over where they spend their money, but we have to acknowledge that we influence their purchase decisions. And they're also in Nara's kind of area and what she promotes, like not just purchase decision, but kind of like way of life, like value system. We infiltrate that. And I think you have to take responsibility for it. And that's why I think it's very hypocritical. And I do... Yeah, that's why I just think it's really important. Again, it's like another reminder of like people are in it for themselves. People like now trends have never ever moved faster than they do now. Like people fit themselves to fit trends that suit their agenda, and it's just so important that we're aware of it and we're able to stay true to ourselves.
1, 2, 3, 4.
With the pivot to the women can do it all, I'm really intrigued, I suppose, your phase of life.
Yes.
Such a transformative moment that you are in within your firstborn's first year of life and picking up more work and just, finding your feet as this new version of you, right? How do you feel now with that term? How do you relate to, I suppose, the juggle or your drive or wanting to do it all or have it all?
I think it depends on, for me, it's like, what is the definition of all? And I think if all is defined by the individual, I do think that you can, however, when you define all, I think it's like changing that word out. Because when you think of women can do it all by like society's definition, caregiving,
full-time job.
Exactly.
Health,
all of that. Being the best mum,
prioritized,
the best, everything being the best. I don't think that is, I don't think that's possible. I generally don't think it's possible. And being in the thick of like having a very young baby right now, also noting I only have one child, like I can't imagine with multiple children. I do, and I think I've been thinking a lot about this recently because I am feeling, I suppose, confused about what has been sold to me in that I think society, we value, and historically the kind of main contribution that we valued from women within society was childbearing. Like historically, women would have a lot of children, like 15, 16, 17, 18 children. And they did work, but different kind, not career work. It was more kind of going into we weren't allowed to have a bank account. Like there was all of those things. And our main contribution to society was childbearing. So there's that. And then I think what comes with that as well is as a society, we speak a lot about the fact that like, at the end of our lives, like we're not going to think about work. We're going to think about like the time we spent with our children. If we have children, of course, like where will you go when you're 80? That trend on social media.
Yeah,
like,
there's a
to
lot
our
of pressure
baby.
to like really just be present and enjoy all of this moment and not focus on anything else.
And like there's so much like sentiment on the internet around like don't sacrifice those early years of your children, you never get them back, blah, blah. So there's that. But then there's the other side of it, which is like we live in a capitalist society. Like when we value in terms of our contribution to society outside of, for women, caregiving and childbearing, it's working. And we are now able to get a bank account, you know, all of those things and like progress our careers and have executive roles that we didn't have access to us before. But there is the pressure to do both. Also, it is like, as you mentioned before with your own situation, in that Josh is a stay-at-home parent. The data, it's 73 or 74% of families in Australia with two dependents, with two parents and two dependents, they both work. Because that's the reality of our
what you can afford.
Like, exactly right. What's affordable for people. And so I think that's important to acknowledge. And then on top of that as well, we have the pressure of if we do take a long time out of the workforce because we don't want to sacrifice this time with our kids when they're very, very young, that isn't actually great for women either because we're not building our skills, we're not building our earning potential, we're not building up our super. And so there's a lot of information that we need to have to be empowered within that time to ensure that we are setting ourselves up for our future.
Yeah.
And it feels like we are, if we try, I think, to be in both camps and be the best, most present parent and be there all the time for our kid and also try and work, like back to work as soon as possible, etc. As someone in this phase right now, it feels like I have my foot in two things, which is my least favorite feeling. I hate that. I'm like a 0 to 100 person. Like I put everything into things that I do. And so that's why I think my personality like really struggles with doing two things at once. But I think for me, what I've come back to, because I don't want to end this conversation in like women can't have it all, it's hard, men can. But then, you know, men are also, there's sacrifice no matter what. And so that's where I come back to, and I have been coming back to a lot of like, okay, no, what does all mean to me? Like what does, and it's not all, it's like what does success in my life mean to
now
me?
as well, I think.
That's right.
It's a phase.
What do I want right now? What does that mean for my life? Like, what are the sacrifices that I'm making? And it is important. Like, for example, if you are listening to this, you want to stay at home, you're able to stay at home. You need to be empowered with the information that is like asking, is your partner contributing to your super? Like all of those things are very, very, very important. I don't think we should just, you know, go follow our heart and be blind to everything else because that is unrealistic. But it is so important to go back within you and ask yourself, like, what do you want? And not because society tells you should. Because society tells women that we should, our value to society is childbearing and also capitalism. So both, which we know it's impossible to be 100% full foot on the pedal for both, not possible. So how is it going to work for you? And you have to define that. Because something that going into parenthood that I was very conscious of, and I know it's not, this feeling, like feeling guilty is not going to be possible for it to never be there. But I don't want to feel guilty my entire life. And I think sometimes we're sold this narrative that like being a parent means you're always going to be guilty. No. Because you're not at work or you're not at home. And I don't, and I think that was why, like, I remember we spoke a lot about that. There was a snippet on Call Her Daddy actually with Alan, what's her surname? Not Jennifer. Alan from Pompeo? Grey's Anatomy.
Yes.
Who plays Meredith.
Yes. Meredith Grey.
Yes. And she said that I'm never fully present at work and I'm never fully, like you can't be. And that to me, I was like, oh, I don't want that. That's something that I want to be able to get to a point where I can be fully present at work and I can be fully present at home and I'm not feeling guilty all the time. And
I don't think that goes with it. I don't think that. So I've felt times where I can definitely be more present at work.
Yes.
And it does, but that doesn't mean guilt is or isn't there. Like I don't think they always intertwine, or because I think it's to do with the values and the time, and this is what we're getting to. I think is like you can have all, your definition of all in this phase of your life. Again, what's really important is being informed with how that may affect later in life, whatever your direction is. But I think with the whole having a foot in both, there's something innate in us with when you become a parent. It kind of goes without saying that you may not be sitting in a meeting anymore thinking about him or like thinking, I wonder what Atlas is up to today or like I wish I was with him. But you're still like at any moment something could remind you of them or like maybe they were unwell the night. Like those things are still there, but I don't always feel guilty for that. I think it's just like a conscious, you've now got this like living being that feels like an extra limb of yours that's not in your eye vision. So I don't know. I feel like the consciousness of them being there, if that's what you're equating to presence at work, I don't think you can ever as soon as you're a parent. So just, I don't think it's always about guilt. I think guilt's different. Guilt, I feel, is what comes up when you aren't truly leaning into what you actually, not what you've been told to or not what you think you need to be doing. You're actually doing what you want to be doing. And some of us don't have the choice as well.
It's very true. It's a very, very important point. Yeah, presence is interesting. I feel like I have to put more thought into it because I actually haven't felt it. Like I do feel like I can be completely present at work. And I agree, guilt can sometimes intertwine into that, but it can be separate. But and I do think it's this narrative with guilt that it's important to acknowledge it because I think if we just pretend that it's not there, it's like that's not helpful. But I also don't think we should feel like we have to subscribe to the narrative where if you are going to work, you're always going to feel guilty. And like I don't want that for my life. Right?
I agree.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot in there. I wish Nara took more responsibility. I think too, it's something that, and I found in my 20s versus my 30s, I think when you are in your 20s, it is harder. And maybe she's very mature. Like she's, maybe she's at a 30-year-old maturity because I don't know. I don't know because she has so many kids. But I wonder if she'll reflect on this differently, like in 5 to 10 years compared to now. But anyway.
Yeah, because I think she, and I did this in my 20s too, is you think more about like, oh, well, people can think what they want of me. They don't know me. And I think that's fucking great and we should all have a little bit of that in our lives.
You're responsible for yourself too.
But you still need to understand how that might be affecting others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is it time for? Special share.
Oh, you're waiting for me. Okay, I can go first. I got mine out. Because mine is this lipstick. It is a Revlon lipstick.
It's such a nice shade on you.
It is I really like it.
Yeah, when I looked at the podcast video when you wore it the other week, I was like, yeah, damn.
Thank you. So I haven't really, I just feel like with lipsticks, because I have I feel like I have 3. And also I have like 3 lip liners and I don't really think whatever's appears in my makeup bag. They're all like similar handbag, shades. Like whatever, I'm not like conscious about them. Yeah. So I feel like I just use whatever's in there and I haven't like thought about exactly for quite a while. And it's a really nice shade and I also really like the way it feels on my lips. Like it's very creamy. It is rum raisin and it is the Revlon Super Lustrous product. Now, we did do a Revlon, disclaimer, have sponsored the podcast and this was a part of the sponsorship, them gifting us these products. However,
you've kept using it.
This is nothing that I have no obligation to talk about it or use it.
Just love the shade.
I really love this shade. I just would love to recommend it. Yeah, rum raisin 535.
So nice.
Yeah, love it. So
love
that's mine.
For you.
What is yours?
Mine is, so I've had a few DMs. I've been wearing this bag. It's like a crocheted rainbow bag. I put a reel up the other day of me doing the like 8 seconds of bliss between shutting the car door on your child and then getting in yourself. And a lot of people like messaged me being like, where is this bag from? By Moja, so Moja is the brand. Now this was gifted to me and I love it. I think the colours and everything bring me so much joy and I just think she's doing a phenomenal job. She does it in so many different colorways and there's different styles of bags and stuff that she makes as well. So I highly recommend checking them out. It's super fun.
Oh, amazing. I love it. I love that bag. It does bring joy. Happy colours.
Happy colours.
I love it. Well, thank you, Steffi. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Now, we'll be back in your ears tomorrow with a new KICBump episode. And then we will be back with a KICPod ep on Wednesday. This is so good. So this episode is really brought to you by you guys, but we went out to you and asked for thoughtful gift ideas because we both find that, well, actually, Steffi, you're really good at this, but I find
sometimes it's hard.
I speak for myself here that I struggle. I want to give someone a really thoughtful gift, and then I even go to the point of Googling like thoughtful gift for 25-year-old female friend. And what comes up, I'm like, this is so boring and unthoughtful, and I don't like it, and then I'm stuck. And so we came to you guys and asked for your gift ideas, and they blew me away. Like I
was not expecting to cry.
No, yeah, exactly. We both cried.
Yeah,
I've saved the run sheet like at home. Like I've left the printout in my drawer because I want to be able to refer to this episode
and not have to
these
listen to our
ideas
voices
all the time. Yeah, true. But you guys. So anyway, that is coming out on Wednesday. Highly recommend listening. And that's all. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
KICPod acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of the land in which we're recording this podcast, the Yulukit Wulan clan of the Boomwurrung, who are a part of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to our elders, past and present, and extend our respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today.